Before you leave. Well, we will give them back the jam, and then we will enter into the updates all across the world when it comes to football. Big things happen for Lagos. Sporting Lagos don't win back to back. It's a miracle Sunday.
Don't be lie.
Miracle entire
so I'll be cameraman, or you go pay me for this camera work I do for you.
When I enjoy this thing, then we will enter different match centers. We'll give them the updates. The halftime here for Luton Town versus Manchester United. Feel free to open the phone lines and talk to us, baby.
Welcome to you, people of sports and people of God. My name is Chief Chapele, and I've been told today to tell you about my life as a radio baby. Well, I started my life as a radio baby in Owerri, where I tried to enter into Hot FM, and when I tried to enter by sports, I was told in not so many terms that they were not very cool with female voices with their sports, and I tried to enter with entertainment and whatnot. But it still felt like I was still needing some refinement. I left, I went to Lagos, I went to radio school, and that was, I think, roughly 2012. Radio school opened me up, gave me opportunities. The first time I talked on radio officially in Lagos was in City FM, thanks to Trauma, the Big, Bold and Beautiful. And one thing I've learned over the years, after radio school, I headed back home to Warri. I did Crown FM, fantastic leaders they had there, the Okotie boss. Radio is storytelling, but it's also your personality and your life and the amount of research you can do. So you will not always start at the top, especially if you want to go far. If you're going for longevity, then be ready to get rejections for what you look like, how you sound like, whatever, for whatever reason. Some of these reasons are very on point. So you can't be like, the world hates me, the world doesn't want to go and refine. Refinement is fine. Sometimes you hear the things that you don't want to hear, but it's still okay, because if you have a healthy dose of self-confidence, you just refine what you need, and then you find a way to know when to stop collecting criticisms, because some criticism is bad belle, while some of them is constructive. Now, you always have to leave the door open, no matter how messy the boss is. In my time in radio, or on radio so far, I believe I've done over 10 years. And on sports radio itself, about 10 years exactly. I'll give props to my people who raised me in sports and to understand how to refine my thoughts when I talk about sports. Brila FM, the first radio station in Africa that talked about sports 24/7. Thanks to them, I can talk about a boyfriend and still use sports to talk about it. I can talk about heartbreak, money problems, economy, anything. I feel use sports, they talk, and why? Because of training. It was not always ideal. The pay is not always perfect, but what radio gives you is a platform to grow, expand, use your network, be gracious, learn how to be a people person. If I see radio people that always like to fight, I have a problem with that, because that means you have not grown. If you're a radio personality and every small thing they vex you quick, you have diva mentality, get the heck out of here, cause the best of them all are not divas, especially when they relate with regular people. They are people, because radio is all about people, especially if you want to last long. Shout out to the first family radio in Nigeria, Inspiration FM, that I got to be the first woman to do, in fact, first person to do anything with pidgin on their side, because they were innovative enough and open enough to try things that were different at the time. And shout out to Wazobia, where I live and reside for the past 4 or 5 years now, who always give you opportunities to grow and expand. Now, for radio people, you're only as good, especially if you want to be on radio, as the brand that you represent. If your brand is static, my dear, most likely you'll be static. So if you have visions and their dreams and their KPIs, a lot of radio stations don't have KPIs. So you just come there, you shout, after a few months of novelty, it's gone. But for radio people and radio stations that are, what's that word? They get one Igbo word. They are fluid, they are flexible, they are growing with the times. If you're somebody that's always improving, even if you leave, you will always come back. Let me tell you why. Because smart radio people are smart business people, and they will always come back to the talent that they have groomed, trust. Even if at that time there was a problem and you guys left, you will still come back again. Why? Because they understand your gifts, your grace, and what you can add to the brand. I will say this, thank you to radio for giving me the life that I always dreamt of, people that I always dreamt of meeting. I've interviewed presidents, governors, senators, I hope to interview maybe an alien or two before my work is done on this side of the divide. And I can't say thank you to radio people without saying shout out to the people that make these systems work. The sound engineers, the guys that run the traffic system to make sure that the adverts land on point. Now, for those of us that do visual radio as well, meaning that there's makeup people behind the scenes, the gaffers, the producers, those when we say they run ahead like John the Baptist to make the crooked path straight. In other words, when you have live broadcast, make sure say whatever unscrupulous elements are going to disturb your flow, they are not going to disturb it because of one or two people engagement. Those logistics specialists, thank you for what you do. The engineers that keep us on point, make sure that we broadcast live. Thank you for what you do, because there will be no Dan Fosters in the world. There would be no Tosin Bucknors in the world. There would be no Chief Swors in the world if not for these persons that hold the system up. So yes, my name is Chief Swore Chapele. They call me Chief Swore, Swore the Queen of Sports, Energy Chief, all these plenty in what they corner just to tell you, say, I am just glad to be here in a space like this, Nigezie, where we day to the make things sweet like butter on bread, like white on rice, like bread and beans. It makes sense. Yes.